Hey guys, welcome back to another update of my Canadian dividend investing portfolio series. In this video, I'm going to show you what's going on in my investing portfolio. I'm going to talk a little bit about the dividend stocks that I have and the performance of my account. And I'm going to walk you through how to track your dividends if you want to use this spreadsheet. I'm going to go through how I input a deposit and how I track the dividends that I receive and how I track the stocks that I buy, and then how that all overall affects my account totals. So to get started, looking at where I left off last time, the account balance is sitting around $81,900, up about $1,700 for 2.11%. Everything's looking fine. I have a dividend income per year of about $3,939. This is totally passive tax-free income because this is all in my tax-free savings account. You can see here all of the months that since I started back in September 2020, the monthly totals that I get in my payments. So April is going to be probably my best month yet. I haven't received all of my dividends for the month at the moment, but those will be coming in probably tomorrow. So in the next video, you'll see that this is probably surpassing the last good month of January. So anyhow, what I do is I need to put in some information based on some of my activity in my actual broker, because this is just a spreadsheet and it only knows what I tell it. So let's jump into Wealthsimple Trade and take a look at what's going on in my activity tab here. We're looking at my tax-free savings account, and let's see if we can filter this. All right, here we go. So we have some funds transferred in, $100. I bought a few shares here. I received some dividends, and I transferred in some more funds. So let's start with my transfers. Let's go here. Transfers, okay, I don't know why it's not working like that. Anyhow, I transferred in $100 and $200. So in my spreadsheet, I go to my deposits withdrawals tab. I scroll down to the bottom. This is a master list of all of the transactions or the deposits that I've made, and I need to drop in the two that I just had, which was April 26th and April 28th. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to transfer in all of the dividends that I've received as well. So if we filter just for dividends, there we go. These are some of the most recent ones that I have. I've already recorded the Allied Properties one from April 17th, but I need to add in these three. So I have one from Bank of Nova Scotia, 5150, one from Northwest Company at 1558, and one from TransAlta Renewables at 1355. So we're going to bring those into the dividends tab of the spreadsheet. And again, this is a master list of every dividend that I've received. So before I log these, let's take a look here. So far I've logged $337 for April. And when we drop these into the dividends tab, I'll just put them in so you don't have to watch me type all of that. And then when we come back to the summary tab, we can see now that this is actually showing all of the dividends that I've received so far for the month. So it's actually $418 up until this point. And like I said, April's not over yet, and I get a lot on the very last day. So this will be punching up again in the next few days, which by the time I film the next video, we'll probably see that. So this is getting closer to what's actually in my account. But I also have made some purchases in the last few days, last week, and I haven't added these in yet. So let's again drop back into Wealthsimple Trade, and we'll filter this maybe for my buys. Let's see if we can get that showing up. And here we go. So the last purchase that I've logged in my spreadsheet is this one, a couple shares of northwesthealth.un. And since then I have bought Acon, 5 shares of those guys, AQN, 2 shares of them, Waste Connections, 1 share, and Fortis, about 1 share as well. So I do need to transfer these in as well. So that's going to go into my transactions tab. And again, master list of all the buys and sells that I've done. So we're down here at the bottom in row 713. I've been busy. And I'm just going to drop these in so you don't have to watch me type. And once each of those are in, I can again come back to the summary tab and take a look here. And this is actually going to exactly match now what's current in my account. So we can see here I have $82,272.18 balance and $53.62 cash available. And when we come into Wealthsimple Trade, into my broker, we see the exact same numbers, 82, 272.18, and 53.62. So when I see these numbers are exactly matching, I know that I don't have any errors in my spreadsheet. If you're using the spreadsheet and you only have Canadian stocks like me, then these numbers should exactly match your broker to your spreadsheet once your spreadsheet is currently up to date. If you do have some US dollar stocks in here, you'll never be able to get these to exactly match, because the currency exchange rate that Wealthsimple uses might differ a little bit from the one that Google Finance displays. So if you do have US dollar stocks, you're probably never going to get these to match. But again, with Canadian stocks only, it's a nice check for me to know that there are currently no errors in my spreadsheet. So let's take a look at the portfolio then. In my spreadsheet, so we can see here roughly, you can see the breakdown here. It is what it is. I try to like keep things even, but of course, like some industries are bigger than others for me. And my holdings here, we can spread this out, get a rough idea of the pie chart. I try not to let any single position get too big. Waste Connections at 6% of my portfolio is the biggest one, but I'm actually okay with that because they, in my opinion, are a very solid company. In the portfolio tab here, we can see a different view of each position and kind of how each one is doing, whether they're up or down, and that sort of things. So let's sort this to put the biggest positions at the top. So we have Waste Connections, almost 6%, followed by Riocan, Algonquin Power, and we just get smaller and smaller as we go down. Some of my big positions are doing great, like Waste Connections. Some of them are doing terrible, like AQN. That's just the name of the game. But overall, my overall portfolio is up, which is the most important number to me, that I have more money than when I started, which is good. And going forward, I do have cash flow available if I need it. So I currently reinvest all of these dividends every time I get them. But in case I needed it, I know that I'm going to have a minimum of like, this is growing all the time, so I'll never have a month basically less than probably $240 going forward. And on average, I'm getting about $329 per month if you take the average of my stocks going forwards. And actually, at the beginning of the video, before I had logged my dividend purchases, this value, the annual dividend income, was sitting around $3,939 per year, and now it's $3,948, so it's up about $11 in my annual passive income from dividends based on these stocks that I recently bought last week. So this number is always growing, and that's why you see this chart going up and up and up. So yeah, back into the portfolio, we can just kind of wrap our heads around what's going on. I do have about 30 positions, 31 positions, because row number 1 is occupied by headers. So I have 31 different positions. Some people think you should have more, some people think you should have less. It's totally up to you. This is your own, if you're investing, it's up to you unless you hire a professional to do it for you. So you can make your own choices there. Like I said, some are doing well and some are doing poorly. I often sort it by their unrealized gains and losses here. So I can also put the biggest gains at the top and the biggest losses at the bottom. And this helps me wrap my head around kind of the performance of different sectors, different stocks, and just the spread on my good stocks versus my bad stocks. This is a typical value that is reported in a lot of brokers. So if we actually, let's maybe sort this to be in alphabetical order of the tickers. This will put it into the same order that Wealthsimple has it. And if we pop back into the broker, we're going to see the same order here in alphabetical order. And when they're talking about returns, for example, let's pick on Allied Properties here. We can pop it open. And when we look here, it's down 46.1% for down $2,708. Which is exactly what we see in the spreadsheet here, down 46.1%, down $2,708. But this doesn't factor in the dividends that we've received. So over here on the spreadsheet, because I'm logging all of the dividends that I get, I have an estimated value of the annual dividends that this position is going to give me per year. I have already tracked every single dividend that I've received from them, so I know that I've got almost $400 from them, which means you can kind of think of it this way. Your all-in performance here is actually only down 39% or down 2,300, whereas your broker will give you these numbers. And so I'm always focused on these numbers because these are like the standard numbers that people actually track. It's a little bit weird to track all-in performance because those dividends, when I get that cash, I can just do whatever I want with it. I can just like spread and like float away from its association with this stock. Because I might get, let's say, $250 in the next year from Allied Properties, but I might go and I might buy like Bell stocks, BCE or something like that. And so it gets a little bit wishy-washy when you start considering your all-in performance. But when I think about it this way, like something that's a little bit less extreme, like maybe HR.UN, these guys on the unrealized gain, this number is exactly what I would see in Wealthsimple, down 6.67%. But because of the dividends that I've received from them, which has been about $400 as well, overall, including the money that I lost on the value of the stock, the unrealized loss plus the dividends received, all of the money that I put into this, so I'm actually up like $133 or 3.44% just because I had put this money into this stock. So you have to pick and choose how you interpret this. Anytime you get into a situation where you're dealing with big numbers, big data sets, whether it's financial stuff or something else, your interpretation of it becomes important, because here I'm down and here I'm up. And it's important to kind of think about both of those situations, and if you're comfortable with it, cool. Allied properties, for example, I'm way down no matter how we spin it. And that's important to know. So when it's your money and it's your responsibility to like understand what's going on in your portfolio, and whether you want to pay attention to your unrealized gains, your all-in performance, per position, or maybe even per position, it doesn't matter, because maybe you're only interested in is your entire amount of money that you put in more than you started with, which to me, that's the most important number. And also maybe some people are like really into the cash flow thing. They just dump money into high yielding stocks and they get like 10 or 15% yield or something like that, and the overall money that they've put in might actually be less than what they started. But if you're just pulling out a bunch of cash every month and you're good, you have all of your living expenses covered, and you're getting like 5,000 a month or 10,000 a month or something, then it doesn't even really matter if your total account portfolio is down, because you're just living off that interest, as long as it's sustainable. So everyone has their own reasons for investing, but it is good to kind of be aware of what's going on. And that's why I like using the spreadsheet, because it helps me understand, like, was it a good idea to buy HR.UN, for example? Like, maybe it's up. It's up 3.44%, and my entire account balance is only up 2.2%. So it's actually beating my average when you consider the all-in performance. So anyways, bit of a rant about that stuff. You can also track stuff like yield on cost. It's not really important to me, because yield on cost is like focusing on the prices you got in the past and not focusing so much on the amount that you have today. But still, a lot of people I know like to track that, so it's in here as well. Let's see if we can maybe pick on a few stocks in the Sparkline before I leave. Some of the ones that I recently purchased was Acon. So let's look at 1 year and try to find them. ARE. Here we go. Last week they had a big drop. It was like a 9% drop or something, and so they have been recovering. If we go back to their 5-year, Acon is like a totally messed up chart. They bounce up and down a lot. The 5-year chart's not loading, but here is the all-time. So they've really tanked far, and they were kind of bouncing back up. But from this point down to here, they dropped 9%, and I thought, I'm going to jump on that opportunity while I can. AQN had something similar going on as well. They have had this massive drop here, like catastrophic loss in stock price, and they've been going up, and again they just dropped down a little bit. And anytime I see these little drops, I try to buy. Like when AQN first dropped down here, I saw a massive drop of like whatever percent that was, and I just bought some because the chance of it rebounding. That's kind of what I do. I'm not recommending anyone else does that. But here, if I see like a drop of a couple percent, I usually try to jump on it if it looks like in the future we might be having an upward trajectory. Waste Connections as well. Let's see if I can pull that one up. They're going to be down at the bottom. So all in all, Waste Connections is a very strong growth company. They're just going up and up and up. And in the last, let's try to zoom in here a little bit more, in the last month or something. Again, they've dropped down from a peak. Or let's do like 1 year. I can show you in Yahoo Finance exactly what the drop was. But anytime they pop down, they often go back up again. So I'm trying to jump on those, and this is my biggest position, but that's okay. I'm comfortable with the momentum that these guys have. And same thing with Fortis. I did pick up some Fortis shares, which was here. Nothing too crazy, but in general here, if you look at the 5-year, for some reason 5-year doesn't feel like loading. So maybe the max chart will give us a better idea. They're just going up and up and up as well. I would have preferred to, I was buying some down in this region, but I think in the future Fortis is good. They're not going down anytime soon, in my opinion, and they've got a nice yield with dividend growth. So I thought this would be a great time to just add some more in before they go, if in case they go past their all-time high there again. So yeah, we can also just get a tab here for extra spark lines, and the 5-year chart is really being cranky for us. Let's see if we can load the 3-year chart. Yeah, there we go. So anyways, I do have a chart here, all of the charts here, so I can quickly scan and look for trends based on, when I sort this is in the same order that is in the portfolio tab. Right now it's alphabetical, but I can put this by sector or by biggest position or biggest winners, biggest losers, and kind of wrap my head around what the trends are here, which is a really helpful tab for me as well to quickly compare, because it takes a long time to go to Yahoo Finance and like look at every chart individually. So anyways, guys, I think I've been rambling for a pretty long time, but hopefully it's insightful for you to see what it's like to actually use a spreadsheet to track your dividend portfolio or your stock portfolio in general. This portfolio tracker does work with Canadian stocks and also US stocks. For now. In the future, I might try to increase some more currencies and stock markets available for tracking. But if you're in the States, it works perfectly, and if you're in Canada, it definitely works really well up here as well. So consider using it. Yeah, drop a comment down below if you are using it. I'd love to know. I know there are a few hundred of you guys that have used it so far. And it would be awesome to hear how that's going. And if you have any questions about something, if you see any errors, any issues, drop a comment down below or send me an email. My email is in the welcome tab here, and I will reply to everyone. Just got to give me a couple days to get back to you. So guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you down in the comments and in the next video.